understand our times, to understand modernity, we need to keep in mind what I like to call the population paradigm. This is fundamental, more than fundamental, because we need to keep in mind that in the last 200 years, the world population doubled every 30 years. It has changed everything, and it never happened in the history of humanity. In the history of humanity, the world population was always kind of like stable. We can say it was endemic. Wars, diseases, it kept the population kind of stable and very thin, so to speak. The big transition in the history of humanity was the discovery of agriculture. This was a big jump in population growth, but it was extremely slow, very, 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 very slow. In fact, there is some region in the world that agriculture as a technology, as a knowledge, did not never arrive. There are still hunter-gathered populations, fortunately. But agriculture was what demographers call the first demographic transition, which allowed a growth of the population, world population, to reach a new plateau. These are all terminology which we are all getting familiar with these days. This is the moment where agriculture was born, when architecture was born, and where food needs to be stored and protected. But with modernity, something happened. At some point in the history of recently, 200 years ago, the population started to double every 30 years. What happened? Happened something very simple, which I think, in my opinion, has an enormous impact on our culture as designers. An Hungarian doctor called Ignaz Semmelweis discovered that by washing hands between giving birth to a baby from another was reducing incredibly, statistically, the possibility for the child to survive at birth and the possibility for the mother to survive. Increasing enormously the possibility for a child to survive and decreasing the infant mortality and the survival of the mother, of course. So he was able to prevent the transmission of the so-called pauper fever, which was one of the highest reason of death at the time. This is very important, and he discovered this by chance. So imagine a small bits of information. Wash your hands. Change completely the history of humanity. As a form of a fact, understanding modernity, in my opinion, this is a key point. So I'd like to say that in our world there are two main news. Very bad news that we are 7 billion people and challenging the resources of our planet, that induced climate change, Anthropocene, and it's really putting at stake somehow the existence of humanity in the world, if you like. Because this condition changed from an endemic condition, historical endemic condition, to what we can call today a pandemic condition, in which the population growth exponentially. According to the United Nations, we will reach a plateau around 7 billion people. But this will happen only in 2050, according to projections. So this was the bad news. The good news is in my opinion, that we are all connected. That's not quite my opinion. We are all connected. Even internet, mobile phones, we have the possibility to get in contact with one another and share informations. And this is an extremely important shift of paradigm, because each and every of us can actually access, produce, consume, but also add and share information. Technically or technologically speaking, this is something extremely new and or relatively new. And this gives, in my opinion, introduce a shift of paradigm in which we can look, or we should, in my opinion, look upon our world from the point of view of population. And my question is, my personal question as my own research is, what can we learn from Ignaz Semmelweis? Can we look upon design as a form of information, a simple information, wash your hand, which actually can improve the relationship we have in our planets, in our time? And this is the challenge that I'm asking myself with my work, and this is something that I would like to share with you.